Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Janelle has the night off. Well, break out the Lysol. The flu has appeared again in Montana. The state's first confirmed case of influenza type A has been reported in Stillwater County. That's according to Stillwater Billings Clinic Community Health. The clinic says it is still awaiting its shipment of vaccines from its supplier, but encourages those at risk to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Flu, of course, can spread rapidly and be dangerous to at-risk populations such as babies, the elderly, pregnant, and immunocompromised individuals. Montana's last flu season began in early October and ended at the beginning of June. It resulted in 13,576 total cases statewide, 767 hospitalizations, and 38 deaths. Montana is one of multiple states that has reached a tentative settlement of its lawsuit against the manufacturer of the drug blamed for playing a key role in the nation's opioid crisis. But state officials said today that many details have yet to be determined. On Wednesday, the Washington Post reported that Purdue Pharma has agreed to a potential settlement of lawsuits filed by 23 states and more than 2,000 local governments. Purdue is the manufacturer of OxyContin, a highly addictive painkiller. The lawsuits accuse Purdue of helping fuel the opioid crisis in the country by falsely marketing OxyContin as a safe treatment for chronic pain. From 2006 to 2012, nearly 90 million doses of OxyContin were distributed in Montana. That's according to legal documents in that case. And now a look at an issue that's creating a lot of controversy across the nation right now: vaping and President Trump's call to sweep flavored e-cigarettes from the market. 380 possible cases of lung illness and 6 deaths have been reported in association with use of e-cigarettes, prompting the CDC to label the rash of illnesses as an outbreak. Now, in most of those cases, individuals vaped both nicotine and THC, and another substance suspected to be responsible in many cases is vitamin E acetate, believed to be added to off-the-street cannabis products in order to help them form a vapor. Now, here's what one local doctor we talked to had to say.
Once you inhale that into your lungs don't really have a way of getting rid of that. So once it's vaporized and inhaled and then it cools down, it's going back to an oil state and lining the insides of the lungs, and then it's impacting oxygen exchange. So they're short of breath, they present with pneumonia type symptoms, a cough, chest pain, and our body recognizes this is not supposed to be there and launches an immune response.
Well, we also sat down with a vape shop owner to hear their perspective on this issue. Be sure to follow the Q2 Weekend News for an expanded look at the vaping discussion. More what can only be described as stupidity in our nation's oldest national park. 2 men caught walking dangerously close to Old Faithful. Yellowstone National Park officials confirmed to MTN the incident happened Tuesday. Information on the identity of the 2 men is still unknown at this time. Both men will appear in court in December, charged with thermal trespassing. We'll update this story as more details come out. Well, the weekend is here and there's a lot happening in the Magic City, including the 5th annual Ox Fest. Red Ox Manufacturing has developed a lot to improve the quality of life in our urban core, providing a comfortable outdoor space for events like concerts and fundraisers, all part of revitalization efforts on Billings East Side. Q2's Zoe Zandora has more on what went into this weekend's events.
Montana seems like it has a lot of land, but the valley's only so big. We're right up against the rims here and the river's over there. We're going to run out of space before we know it. So redeveloping your urban core is crucial to small business.
6 years ago, eBird, or the East Billings Urban Renewal District, proposed to change the zoning code for East Billings before City Council from a controlled industrial code to a form-based, and after providing studies and examples, the code change was approved. A plot of land sitting in the designated East Billings Urban Renewal District, the Red Ox property has welded itself onto nearly 2 acres of land using industrial art by using and repurposing steel from Pacific Steel.
We purchased all this property to put our factory on, but instead we bought another building that was existing and remodeled it and renewed it, and that left us with a bunch of land.
Jim Markle, the owner of Red Ox, says the area has developed in a way he didn't even imagine.
Yeah, we've been reusing all this stuff to basically save some of it, because it's like some of the cast iron parts won't be made again. To have a coal-fired plant here, it's no longer here. So once that disappears, that stuff gets scrapped up. Some of that infrastructure is pretty neat looking. It's almost artistic.
Markle getting artistic himself with the use of the land and has now set the stage for a multi-use venue in the Red Ox's annual event, the Oxfest.
We started having an Oxfest about 5 years ago, and this will be Oxfest 5. So we've decided to build an event center down here and have, like on the weekends, so you can have outdoor concert venue.
And with the new improvements of the land, the Red Ox's lawn alone can host up to 600 people.
Being an entrepreneur, you look for a low cost of operating, right? So you come down to the blighted neighborhoods and then you invest in them and you build them up. So for this, it's like, how could you mess it up, right? It's just it was ugly before, so planting a few trees and some grass, how could you go wrong?
In Billings, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
Well, the Oxfest is a two-day event starting today with ribbon cutting, guest speakers, and live music. And the good times continue tomorrow with nearly 20 food trucks, arts and craft booths, and more. That's all from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. All right, Bob, we certainly had some variety with our weather this week. Earlier we had rain, we had snow in the mountains. Now we're heading toward maybe 90s again?
Oh, yeah. Well, this last week it felt like we're heading right into fall, but not so much now. Take a look at our forecast. As Russ was saying, yeah, it's going to get pretty toasty. Here's your weekend forecast here. On Saturday, it looks like you may be sitting out by the pool because it's going to be pretty doggone nice. 82 degrees. It's going to be warm. The low that night, maybe right around 55 degrees. Then on Sunday, look at that. Mostly sunny skies moving in. It's going to get kind of hot. Get back down to 57 for the overnight low, but basically a new ridge of high pressure moving in. We have a warm front that's going to sweep in on Sunday, and then it'll continue to warm things up for us. So we're looking at some pretty nice weather this weekend, but don't worry, fall weather comes on Monday through the rest of next week. We get back down into the 70s. We'll have more on that in a few more minutes. Russ?
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, Billings firefighters are looking to help honor one of their own, but they need your help. Orville Horton died in the line of duty back on September 7th, 1969, while responding to a building fire in downtown. He's the only Billings firefighter officially lost in the line of duty, and his name is set to be added to the Montana State Firefighters Memorial in Laurel next Saturday, September 21st. And now Billings Fire wants to find family members of Horton so that they can be part of the ceremony honoring his sacrifice. If you can help, if you know anyone, you're asked to contact the Billings Fire Department. Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, Friday the 13th and the full moon inspired you to have some fun. Turns out getting inked could be your best route. Find out how. And later in sports, West is still on a football tear. Scott shows us how they dominated at Dallas, plus a full night of high school football action.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.